Hey, hey. Hi, guys, Scorpios. Welcome back. And of course, Scorpios, we are about to start celebrating Scorpio season. For this storyline, let me just begin a little differently than I have for all the other zodiacs. I'm going to go ahead and take a little peek and say, what is the big message for this upcoming year for Scorpio? Let's take a look at it like that first, and then we'll ask some of the same questions that I've asked for all the other zodiacs for this series. First and foremost, what's the bigger message for this upcoming year for Scorpios? And we have got the Two of Wands, a year of choice, a year of options. This could be a year where literally Scorpio holds the world in the palm of their little hand. Yes, they may be working hard. They may have worked really hard. This is somebody whose life is filed away, or they've got a brain like a steel trap. They've got lots of resources, lots of memories, lots of things that they've already accomplished in life. And with that, you notice how she sits on this filing cabinet holding the world in her hand. It says this is probably why Scorpio could literally achieve anything this year, because each one of those filing cabinets holds, like, their resumes, their life experiences, everything that they've worked on, everything that they've gone through in life to become the person that they currently are. So does Scorpio have choices this year? More choices than possibly they've ever had. But they also know themselves really well because they sit on top of their life's work. So this is a Scorpio who's probably like really going to be feeling their, this actually says boss babe on the clipboard, and there's not even like papers or anything clipped to the clipboard. Maybe because there's no more work to be done, we've arrived at official boss babe status. Masculine or feminine doesn't matter. This could be like a very empowering year where Scorpio is constantly asked to make choices, but it's because they have choices, not because it's like, oh, great, this is so overwhelming. Now I got to decide what I'm going to do. This looks exciting. We do have a Knight of Cups in the reverse, and we also have a Nine of Pentacles. For all the choices Scorpio may have to make in the next year, some of them may have to do with Scorpio. I don't mean snubbing, but Scorpio might be like, that's not enough. I don't want to deal with knights. I would rather stay single. If the choices before me are, deal with a knight, or look, knights don't necessarily have staying power. It kind of looks like Scorpio is all about greater achievement and self development. And that Nine of Pentacles, we're almost at a 10. And I'm wondering if Scorpio has had experiences, or has been in like a situationship or something where, somebody's wonderful, they're great. And if Scorpio wants to keep spending time with that person, by all means, do so. But this Scorpio kind of says, what I'm realizing I'm starting to weed out is the situations that can go the distance with me versus the situations that are, here for a good time, not a long time, whether that's in love, whether that's in career path, because it kind of starts out with like career, then we shift over to love, and then we shift over to like the philosophy of Scorpio, which is I've worked really hard to get to here, and I kind of want to not align myself with people, places, or things that haven't been working as hard as I have been. If something is like way behind where I'm at, I'm not sure that that would be a great match, because I'm almost at mastery. We're at a Nine of Pentacles about to go to the 10. So I don't see Scorpio necessarily saying, I have all this knowledge, all this wisdom, but yeah, I'll go ahead and work for like a smaller company that can't offer me a 401k, and that, doesn't have a vacation package set up yet because they're brand new. I don't know that Scorpio is going to do that. They might go, if they get a high enough position, if they get some of those perks, they might say yes, but it's going to be your negotiations. And likewise, if Scorpio's like, I don't know that I'm just going to date for fun. I kind of want somebody who I could see not just having fun with, but somebody who might want to like somebody build a house with me. If I can see somebody's nowhere close to that in their life, they're not thinking about those things, I'm not going to ask them to think about those things. They get to be wherever they are, but I've kind of outpaced them. And this is not to be rude. I don't think Scorpio's like, oh, these people aren't good enough for me. These jobs aren't good enough for me. No, it's just that Scorpio's put in a lot of time and effort to become who they are. And at this point, things have to match their energy because they're not still trying to figure it out. They've arrived. So kind of a very powerful year, but the choices that Scorpio has to make, don't look stressful. It just looks actually kind of like refreshing, maybe. San Juanita, hi. Hey, Araceli, how are you, babe? All right, now let's get to the other questions that I asked for all the other zodiacs. First question here was, who is Scorpio's best match currently? Now, this is romantic match, but I'm not looking at it as like what zodiac, look, there's already plenty of, astrological symbolism that says, Scorpio's best match, worst match, most compatible, most hated match. I'm not going to just repeat stuff that's already out there. I care more about this particular character in this particular timeline. So we will call out zodiacs if I see them, but I'm looking more for the quality of the person that Scorpio might match with the best right now. And we have Nine of Swords sideways, which is somebody who's neither too slow nor too fast, somebody who is possibly quite heroic in their mindset, somebody who sees what needs to be done and they're willing to step up and do it. Somebody could also surprise Scorpio sometimes with their kind of like fearlessness, some of their spontaneity, but not somebody who's just like all over the place and Scorpio can't rely on them. We have an Ace of Cups, we have an Empress, and we have the High Priestess. Okay, so whomever it is that's going to really resonate right now with Scorpio is most likely going to be somebody that has a youthful spirit, but an old soul behavior. Somebody who can take their time. I'm hearing I want a lover with a slow hand. Is it Pointer Sisters? I want a lover with an easy touch. I want someone who understands and won't come and go in a heat rush. It feels like that. Like, I want somebody youthful, but somebody attentive. I want somebody who is soft and gentle and loving, and somebody who values, like a very deep, very serious, very real connection. Also, somebody who might really like the home life. It doesn't mean that they're boring or that they never want to go out, but they might really like eating at home. They might really like spending time with family. They may really also like care about different aspects about the planet, sustainability. This, let's be honest, this is Gaia. This is an Earth muffin energy. I could see like, I don't know why, but like, I feel like Scorpio wants somebody where they might like to be out in nature. Maybe they sweat, and Scorpio's like, oh, I like the smell of my partner's sweat. They're very real. There's an earthiness to them. There's something about like home life and good cooking and, somebody who maybe even wants to go camping, get outside into nature a little bit more. And at the same time, somebody who can have a spiritual bond. So it's earthy, it's intuitive, it's spiritual, it's fun, but it's also serious. That's the quality of character that it seems like Scorpio might best connect to. Now, of course, we do have a dash of some strong, air energy here. So the Libra, Gemini, Aquarius. And then we've got Libra, Taurus coming in on the Empress. And we also have some Virgo, Cancer, and Pisces from the High Priestess, along with a dash of maybe a fellow Scorpio energy, or maybe this is the way Scorpio hopes that they look at them. Somebody that would be like really wanting to connect emotionally, very much like skin to skin contact. This is a blend of sensuality, tenderness, spirituality, and then like very earthy, realistic, good loving, but also laughing together and keeping things, light but serious, if that makes sense. It's kind of like Scorpio wants it all, but I would just say that they would match best right now with somebody who was very present. That's the way I would maybe say that. So vertical rising, you're so sweet. We're honored to have you. And then we just had some Taurus energy in there. So perfect timing for you to pop in and represent the Bull Gang. SLH, hi, hun. All right. So next, I want to ask this. What is it that's making Scorpio really attractive right now? We have got a 10 of Wands. They don't carry grudges. The Justice card. This is like, they may have a right to. They may also be somebody though where they're like, I don't bother to carry grudges. That would lower me. What I do though is I call out injustices when I see it for other people because I don't like that. So that's very sexy and very bold too. Like somebody who has a strong sense of justice and fairness. But for themselves, it doesn't mean Scorpio doesn't stand up for themselves, but I think Scorpio probably is the kind of person who's like, I can let things roll off my back because that's beneath me, you know. And I kind of think that's like, it's a very big flex for Scorpio to be able to hold their head up high no matter what. But when it comes to seeing other people get treated poorly, ooh, Scorpio doesn't like that one little bit. We got a Page of Cups upright. We got a Seven of Wands. We got the Ace of Swords. Very intelligent character also. And man, if Scorpio chooses to say something, they could say it tongue in cheek. They could say some like snarky one-liners, or they could say the one thing in the room nobody else has the guts to say, or they say the thing that they see. They bring up the point. Like, this is a Scorpio who could win an argument real easy because they say the thing that is absolutely like on the nose. Like, you know how in those like those kind of the, oh, like when the comedians are like, instead of having a dance off or a singers, you know, doing like the whatever 8 Mile, you know, Eminem rap battle, they're like comedians that are having like a dance off, the equivalent of that. I almost think that that's the way Scorpio can like just nail it. They have a quick wit here. But we also have a Scorpio who's they're able to say sorry to someone. They're able to also receive an apology, which is huge. This is like emotional intelligence. With that Seven of Wands, big time problem solver. But I almost think the way Scorpio solves problem is with this very particular flourish. This is a Scorpio who will find the answer nobody else had. They don't do anything boring. This is not a Scorpio who, I don't know why I'm picturing like, if there's, let's say, a costume contest, and it's a theme, and you know the prize is going to be given out for like most creative costume, Scorpio's going to nail it. They've got, they bring their wit and their uniqueness together, and they solve the problem at hand, and they do it with this particular flourish. This Scorpio is going to be noticed when they're in a group in particular. They are definitely in the upper echelon all the time, but they're not full of themselves. They just kind of naturally do things in a slightly different way than most people do, and I think that that makes them attractive. But they also are very aware of others and others' plight, and that makes them a pretty strong ally for what's right and for justice. You guys are so generous. Thank you so much. SLHU Angel, thank you for that incredible donation. San Juanita, thank you always. You are so incredibly generous. Thank you, hon. Sweet dreams to you. Take good care. Get some rest. You guys, thank you. That's so generous of you. Okay, I do want to ask this also. So, what is Scorpio's greatest strength? Two of Pentacles. Two of Pentacles is fairness and balance. They can see when they're in the wrong. They can see when someone else's idea is preferable to their own or better than their own. On the other hand, they can advocate when they're like, no, my idea is better. Let me explain it. This is not somebody who is angling for, I have to be the best because it's an ego thing. This is somebody who's balanced in themselves and knows that other people bring different skills to the table, and they're not intimidated by what other people bring in because they know what they bring in. But they will definitely hold forth with, here's the reason I believe this, here's why I genuinely think that this should weigh out. It's like both things have merit, but this is clearly the better choice, and here's the reason why. If you can prove me wrong, I will completely agree to go your way instead. That's an awesome, the balance of like, I'm not a pushover. I'm also not wanting to win. I want the best outcome. And that requires, you got to be fair. You got to see pros and cons. That's an amazing strength to have. I would think this would make Scorpio a very, very great member on any team that actually wants to grow, any business that wants to grow, any person or relationship where you want to live a better life, a better quality relationship. Like, Scorpio would be a slam dunk partner. You'd be lucky to be with this kind of a Scorpio. Okay, I also want to ask this. What does an ex think of Scorpio? Just always a little bit curious. Four of Wands, Nine of Pentacles. There is an ex out there where the people who know this ex may know that they still see Scorpio as a person that they wanted to marry, should have been married, or still feel married to. Scorpio was the one. They may have figured this out far too late with this Nine of Pentacles. They may be somebody who they know that in the big scheme of their life, that was a person that they could have had the best relationship with was Scorpio, but I don't know that I think they were ready for that. I think they're even still in like an awakening right now. Now maybe this X will make their presence known again in Scorpio's world, but I'm not intending it to look like that. I just like to take one peek back at the past just to say, how does somebody see Scorpio that would have had like a greater bond to Scorpio or known like a deeper part of Scorpio? And there's very complimentary. And then the last question here is, what is it about Scorpio that challenges certain people? That's kind of objective because, if somebody's being challenged by another person, you got to consider they may have their own issues, right? And that they're getting triggered by something. But I just think it's an interesting thing to reflect. We have a Six of Cups upright. We have a Knight of Cups upright. We have a Page of Wands, a Queen of Swords, the Strength card, and the Death card. The things that challenge other people about Scorpio seems to be, number one, the Scorpio is pretty well respected, and they do have like a nice, I'll say, like group around them. Even it could be tough for somebody because it's like, God, even your ex likes you, and you got soulmate, you pick up kindred spirits. I feel like Scorpio could kind of have a tendency to end up having like the dream team. They could be a part of like winning teams pretty frequently, whether it's in the workplace or whether it's just in their community, or it's just like, I don't think Scorpio has like a cliquey group that they fit in. I think Scorpio is just always around other people that are like progressive, and they're kind of like they're winning at life also, because it's like we're all just trying to like rise and do better together. And I feel like that could be like anyone who's not in Scorpio's inner circle, or one of those people that Scorpio like slaps hands with. I'm picturing somebody who has like, that handshake and like, elbow bump and stuff like that. It's just like Scorpio has an easy rapport with people that they resonate with. And I think some people might be wishing they could have that rapport also. They wish that they could have those kinds of bonds. Or they see Scorpios like, you're always on the winning team. I wish I could be on the winning team. With that Page of Wands, though, I do think when Scorpio's done with somebody, they really do turn around. I don't think Scorpio fights and, throws down. I think they just close people off and walk away. And I think that is the other challenge. If you do the Scorpio wrong, you aren't going to even get so much as a goodbye. You get dismissed. And that is also like, oh my God, Scorpio's so nice to everybody else, even their exes like them. But when you get dismissed by Scorpio, it's like you don't exist. And that is really almost like nerve wracking for some people. And I would double down on that message with the Ace of Swords there. Scorpio is very good with just conveying their disdain or when they're finished. No fuss, no muss. And I do think with the Strength card, it's crazy because I think the other thing that turns people off or makes them jealous or challenges them is, I think Scorpio does all of this and maintains a really great like reputation, not by conforming, not by playing small. Scorpio like lets their crazy out sometimes, and people like them even more for it. It's like Scorpio gets to live way more authentically, and people accept it in Scorpio, because Scorpio's like, that is who I am. Why would I have to change for you? It doesn't matter if you don't like me. It's they're utterly unbothered. So you saw my crazy eyes. So you hear what I really think. That's okay. I'm a person of strong opinions, and I will live according to what I think's right. That could make a lot of people nervous and jealous. How come you get to be you? How come you don't get canceled for speaking your mind? Or how come you don't, people will say, oh boy, crazy. How come you don't have to conform? Because Scorpio's not going to. It's not about how come you don't have to. Good luck telling this Scorpio to do this. Scorpio doesn't conform. Scorpio changes the world around them. You want to be in my world, then you can change, but I'm not changing to fit into yours. We literally end with Scorpio, with the Death card. And it's almost like, it's fine if you don't want to fit into my world, but this is how I do things. I think that is, Scorpio doesn't care if they get ghosted. They always say like, whoever cares the least holds the most power. This isn't a Scorpio who's so full of themselves. In fact, we saw them very balanced, but they also are very much not a people pleaser. In this storyline, this Scorpio is like, I don't feel the need to fit in. I'll have friends that fit with me and it'll be easy and we'll, challenge each other to always be better and stuff like that. But I don't have to fit in and be super PC. That's not what I'm here to do. I'm okay with some people not liking me. That right there is massively freeing and also massively intimidating. So, kind of a powerful Scorpio for sure. All right, you guys, I fully enjoy this. I would be definitely having a secret handshake and elbow bump with that Scorpio. I would be friends with this person. I really enjoyed them. All right, you guys, so good to see you. SLH, thank you again, babe. He's so generous. Thank you. James Timmons, hi, honey. How are you? So good to see you. Joanne Unknown 94, thank you so much for being here, babe. Cinder, awesome. Me too. I enjoyed this character a lot. It's always so fun when we get a character that's so likable. Okay, so I hear my Aries and he's asking for me. So I'm going to take a little brief break and then I'll be back and we'll get to, we have basically 4 more zodiacs that we're still going to get to tonight. We'll go to Gemini next, Ophiuchus, Sag, oh, and then Libra as well. All right, you guys. Welcome, Channel. Hi. Or Chanel, or Channel. Forgive me if I just said your name wrong, but I'm honored you're here. Welcome. All right, you guys, take care. I'll see you again in just a few. Thanks for giving it a thumbs up and subscribing, and happy upcoming birthday season, Scorpios. Bye, guys.